guys, welcome back to my channel, and I am here for my January monthly wrap-up. January was a good month for me. I read 12 books and, well, 12 things. Mostly books. There's 2 graphic novels in here, but I read 12 things, 10 books, 2 graphic novels. Still a good month for me. I was very happy, and that even goes with being in Hawaii for a week and only finishing 1 book in that week. So, yay! All right, I'm not sure where to start. I guess we'll start with the 2 ebooks that I read that are not currently sitting in my pile. So I get into these moods where I just want goofy, fun contemporaries. And I tried checking out Let It Snow with John Green and a couple other people, the collaboration they did. And it was on back something from the library. And I signed up for it months ago because I wanted to read it for Christmas. Totally forgot about it. So it pops up at the beginning of the month, just missing Christmas. And my husband's like, oh, your book came in. I was like, yay! So I downloaded it onto my Kindle and I read it in like 1 day. It was really, really cute. It's about 3 different characters. There's 3 different authors, and each author follows 1 character. And so each little piece is a part of the bigger puzzle. So all 3 of the stories fit into the same time frame, into the same world. 2 of them happen simultaneously, and then 1 of them happens afterwards. So 2 of them happen Christmas Eve to Christmas Day, and the other one happens Christmas Day to the day after. But they all happen in the same city, at the same issue. All of it's the same. So it's about this girl who is on a train that hits a huge mound of snow and has to sit and wait. And then everything unfolds from there. So there's a bunch of cheerleaders on the train. So when she gets off, because she's a Waffle House, by the way, I've been craving Waffle House hash browns ever since. But when she gets off the train, she goes over to a Waffle House and people start following her. And so it's all about the characters who got off the train and the interaction they have with the people that live in the town. I thought it was really cute. I liked it a lot. It was goofy, it was stupid, it was total candy for my reading tastes, but it was fun. I liked it. And then the second book that I read on my Kindle is By Your Side by Casey West. I read that one because I bought it a couple of months ago off of one of the Kindle sales. So Kindle has books that go on sale every day for like $3 and under, and that was one of them that came up. I was curious about it, so I bought it. And again, in the midst of reading all of the heavy fantasy sitting next to me, I wanted to have something light and fluffy and goofy, and so I read By Your Side. And everyone keeps dogging it, saying that it's one of Casey West's worst books, but I thought it was super cute. So if that's one of her worst books, I look forward to reading the rest of her books. And this month I had a lot of series going on. I guess I'm gonna start from the top and work my way down. These are not in any particular order. These just happen to be sitting with their others. So there's a couple of stand-alones in here. There's a couple of series in here, and all the series are together, so they're in no order at all whatsoever. So the first thing on my list is The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. Holly Black is one of my favorite writers. She writes the best fairy tales. I don't know what it is about her fairy tales that I like so much, but I really find them compelling. I read some of her other books too, and they just don't have the same punch that her fairy tales do, which is why I really, really want to read The Cruel Prince, because a friend of mine who's read every book that Holly Black has come out with, I think, or at least all of her fae books, said to read them, the Tithe series, and then this book, and then The Cruel Prince, because they all kind of tie together. I read the Tithe series years ago, so I read this one, and now I'm ready for The Cruel Prince. But it was amazing. It was such a good book. Totally love Holly Black. And this is definitely, yes, it's good. The next 2 books I have on my stack are Down Among the Sticks and Bones and Beneath the Sugar Sky. I still count these as full books because They're almost 200 pages. But I like this one a lot. I had to go back to Every Horror Doorway and read a little bit about what happened to Jack and Jill in Every Horror Doorway because I could not remember exactly how the end of the book played out. So I read the last chapter of the book, or the chapter of the book that they're in, to kind of refresh my memory about the world that they're going, that this takes place in. So this is a prequel to Every Horror Doorway. It follows Jack and Jill as they go into the moors. My only critique with this book is that I wish there was more to it. I felt like she just glossed over so many opportunities for more stories. And it was a great book. I really enjoyed it, but I just wish there was more to it. This one is about another character from the original book. This is about Sumi, and you get to see Confection in this one. Confection is a land that is completely made up of candy and cookies and anything sweet and confection-ish. I thought it was really, really cute. This is by far my favorite book of the series so far. Only gripe I have is that when Barnes & Noble sent it to me, the bottom of it got dinged up really bad, and this chunk keeps like coming up while I'm reading it, and it was driving me nuts. And so I contacted Barnes & Noble, and they're going to send me a new one, but they want me to send this one back, which wouldn't be a problem if I had a UPS nearby. But I don't, so I'm going to have to get a hold of them again and see if I can find another way to send this to them, because UPS is not going to work. But this is definitely my favorite book of the series so far. And I know that I don't know anything. I heard that she was going to see how this one did and decide if she wanted to write more for the series. I really hope she does. This was an amazing book. Definitely, by far, my favorite of the series. Next on my stack are the first two books that I read this month. And they are Siege and Storm and Rise and Ruin. These are the second and third book in the Shadow and Bone Grisha series. And I love them so much. This series is one of those ones where there's adventure, there's romance, there's an amazing villain that you actually sort of love. And I really loved it. Everyone keeps saying that this series is compared to the Six of Crows duology. And if these books are compared to the Six of Crows, I am ecstatic to read Six of Crows because I loved these books. They were some of my favorites that I've read in a while, and I'm really looking forward to continuing on. But again, I'm buddy reading these books, and my buddy has all of her books in storage and she can't get to them for at least a month. So I might be waiting a little while to read these ones, but next read the Six of Crows duology, but then I might just stick my tongue out at her and read them anyways. We'll see. We'll see what February holds. But either way, great books. Love them a lot. The next two books on my stack, one of which is the last book that I read this month. And they are Harry Potter's. I have The Order of the Phoenix and The Half-Blood Prince, which are books 5 and 6. I've been working my way through the audiobooks, so I didn't read them, I listened to them. And this chunker took quite some time to get through because it was like a 30-hour audiobook or something along those lines. And I forgot how much I love these. I have not read them in so long that I had just forgotten how much I love them. This one, I love the relationships in this. I love the drama in it. And I hate Dolores Umbridge. And I think that that's actually one of those good things about this book is that it's very, I hate it because I love it. I love it because I hate it. This one is where you get all the backstory from Tom Riddle, Voldemort, and I forgot how much I enjoyed reading about his life because I'm one of those people that likes the backstory. I like to find out about my villains. I like to know the whys. And that's one of the things that is really great about Rise and Ruin, it's actually a little story about our bad guy, who I'm not going to say who he is, because if you have not read Shadow and Bone, it'll give it away, because I had no idea that he was the villain until like halfway through that book. But there is a little short story at the back of this book about the villain, and I liked it a lot. Anyways, so back to Harry Potter. I love all of the backstories about Tom Riddle, him growing up, the things that he did. They're some of my favorite pieces of the story, and some of the pieces that were done least successfully within the movies, because you just can't get all that backstory into the movies. God, this book is getting old. It's getting all spotty. But I loved it. This is definitely always 5 out of 5. I have no idea what my favorite book is anymore, because after rereading these, the lines have been blurred. I always thought it was The Prisoner of Azkaban, but now I'm not so sure. So I am now currently on Deathly Hallows. I am on chapter 4. It's going to be a while, but I should hopefully finish it this month. And then I can move on to something else for my audiobooks. I love them. They're so good. I also read a historical fiction, and I read The Midnight Watch, which is a story about the Titanic and the Californian. And so if you know anything about Titanic history, when the Titanic sunk, there was a boat nearby. They could see each other. The Titanic could see them, and they could see the Titanic. But they didn't come to help. And potentially, if the Californian had gone to help the Titanic, there would have been no loss of life. The boat still would have sunk, but we would not have the massive headliner of the Titanic losing 1,500 plus people if the Californian had gone to help. This book took me a little while to get through. It's not a big book, but it definitely raised a lot of questions, and it's a little bit of a, slower paced book, because it is talking a lot about the court cases that happened afterwards. So the book starts off talking about the gentleman who was on the Midnight Watch, and he's the one that saw the flares and tried to get the captain of the Californian to go help the Titanic, and the captain just ignored him. And we don't find out until the very, very end of the book, and I think it's mostly speculation, but I don't know for sure about why. This book is lots of court cases, lots of headlines, all true to fact. But some of the information is speculation, and I'm really curious to find out if the reason why the captain didn't go to help is real, or if it's just speculation. Either way, it was really interesting, but you don't find out until the very, very end of the book. But it starts off with the Midnight Watch, and then it goes to a fictional character who is a reporter for a paper that actually existed at the time, and it has him trying to report on what's going on. His specialty is bodies. He was able to bring the stories of people who had died to life, to make the reading public care about him. The author said that the journalist is a complete work of fiction. The paper is real, the headlines are real, but the journalist himself is not real, because he wanted the fictional character to be able to just do what he wanted with it. However, everybody else besides 2 of the journalistic people are all real. And it was very interesting going through this. It goes through the court cases, because they actually did a huge investigation of why the Titanic sank, who's to blame for the Titanic sinking. And then it goes on to the journalist has this, he wants to know, he's got a burning desire to find out more about the Titanic, about the people who died, about the families. Everybody at the time was talking about John Jacob Astor and Guggenheim and the president's friend. I want to say it's like Colonel Budd or something, I can't remember. But they were stressing about these really famous people, and he was more interested about the families that had passed that weren't first class, that weren't rich and famous. And I really, really enjoyed it. Stop. I really, really enjoyed it. It was definitely took a little longer to get through. I went through and I double checked facts. I looked up people that were in it so I could see more about the captain of the Californian as well as the guys who were in the watch, the people that were on the ship. It's just, I actually went through and I looked a bunch of these people up because I was curious. He actually wrote most of this novel as his dissertation for school, and he turned all of his notes and facts into a novel. I thought it was wonderful. Loved it. I would recommend it to anybody who has an obsession with the Titanic like I do. The last two things I have are my graphic novels, and they are Paper Girls 2 and 3. Now, Paper Girls is written by the same author that wrote Saga. And so I had really, really high hopes for these books that they were going to be absolutely amazing. And number 1, wonderful. Number 2, good. Number 3, I am so confused. I have no idea what is going on. So I'm definitely going to keep reading them. The art in them is beautiful. It's about these group of paper girls. They were some of the first girls to be able to have a paper route because it normally was a boys' industry back in the 80s, I think, is when this was written. Is what this is about. It's about the 80s. But it was mostly a male-dominated field. And this girl's brother was a paper boy, and when he stopped his job, she picked it up. She became one of the first paper girls. And these group of girls always come together. They come together on Halloween, November 1st morning, Halloween night, November 1st morning, because there's some wackadoodles out. And that's where the book starts, is all of these girls are coming together to do their paper routes together so that they don't get accosted by weirdos after Halloween. And some fishy stuff starts to happen. They find a ship that is like a time machine, kind of, but not. It's weird. But I thought it was really good, and that's why I kept reading. I like them both. I'm really confused right now. So I'm very curious to see where this goes, but I have a feeling it's going to take me a little while to find out. And that's it. That is my 12 things I read in January. I think I had a really good reading month, and I'm hoping that February's half as good. So I will see you again soon, and if you want to know any more about these books, if you read any of these books, let me know in the comments. My favorite part about making these videos is talking to you guys. And I've been chatting a lot more recently. Thank you to all my new subscribers because it's been so much fun to talk to you guys. And I will talk to you in the comments and see you in another video soon. Bye!